Hello friends, today I will discuss about the children in armed conflict. So welcome to all of you in my channel, YouTube channel, that is Study Center. I am going to discuss about the new issue, that is children in armed conflict. तो आप सबका स्वागत है। तो कुछ डिस्कस करने से पहले मैं ये फ़ोटो दिखाना चाहूँगा जिसमें लिखा हुआ है that we are children, not a soldier. So this is the main factor today we are going to discuss, that we are children, not soldier. So let's start the discussion. More than 20 years ago, the world united to condemn and mobilize against the use of children in armed conflict. Since then, thousands of children have been released as a result of action plans mandated by the UN Security Council and other actions aimed at ending and preventing recruitment and use of children by armed forces and groups. However, serious challenges for the protection of children affected by the armed conflict remain. Nearly 250 million children were live in countries and in areas affected by the armed conflict in the Syrian Arab Republic. The 5 years conflict has caused the deaths of more than 250,000 people, including thousands of children. In Afghanistan in 2015, the highest number of children casualties was recorded since the United Nations began systematically documenting civilian casualties in 2009. In Somalia, the situation continued to be precarious, with an increase of 50% of the number of recorded violations against children compared with 2014, with many hundreds of children recruited, used, killed and maimed. In most of travel examples in South Sudan, children were victims of all 6 grave violations, in particular during the brutal military offensive against the opposition forces. Millions of children, of whom are unaccompanied or separated from their families and being displaced by the armed conflict. These children are at high risk to grave the violation in around campus and other areas of refugees, and action is urgently required to available the plight of children displaced by armed conflict. In the Secretary General encourage the member state to respect the rights and displaced of refugee children to provide them with necessary supports and services. Violence against the children. The right of the children to protection from the violence is enshrined in the Convention of the Right of the Child, and yet still 1 billion children experience some from emotional and physical or sexual violence every year, and 1 child dies from violence every 5 minutes. Violence against the children known no boundaries of culture, class and education. It takes places against the children in institutions, in schools, at home. Peer violence is also concerned, as is the growth of cyber killing. Children exposed to violence live in a isolation, loneliness and fear, not knowing where to turn for help, especially when the perpetrator is someone close. Children, gender, disability, poverty, nationality or the religious origin may increase the risk of the violence, with the youngest being especially the vulnerable, as they are less able to speak up and seek support. In 2006, UN study provided a set of recommendations on how to end violence against the children, and Secretary General appointed the special representative to ensure their effective follow-up and monitor the implementation. There has been some real progress. Many states have been legislation to prohibit physical and mental and sexual violence and support of victims. Campaigns are against raising awareness of the negative impact of violence and by sexual violence and harmful practices against the children are being tackled. We also have the more data on the scale of nature of violence against the children. These are the significant developments, but much more needs to be done. The inclusion of specific target 16.2 in the 2030 agenda has shown the world commitment to end to all forms of violence against children. We must work urgently to ensure the noble vision becomes reality for every child. Children and Sustainable Development Goals. For 15 years, the Millennium Development Goals (MDGs) were guiding forces on many issues affecting the lives of children, young people, and their families over the time. Tremendous progress was made in reducing the preventable child deaths, getting more children into school, reducing the extreme poverty, and ensuring more people to have access to safe water and nutritional food. However, progress has been uneven. Many of the most processing issues of the world, including addressing the inequalities, promoting the inclusive economic growth, protecting children from violence, and combating climate change, were not adequately covered in the MDGs. With the adoption of the new Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) in September 2015, the world leaders have committed to ending the poverty by 2030. Unless the accelerated efforts are made by 2030, almost 7 million children may die before reaching their 50th birthday. Children in sub-Saharan Africa will be 10 times more likely to die before their 5th birthday than children in high-income countries. 9 out of 10 children living in the extreme poverty will be in sub-Saharan Africa. More than 60 million primary school-age children will be out of school, roughly the same number as are out of school today. More than half will be from sub-Saharan Africa. Some of the 750 million women will have been married as children, 3/4 billion childbirths. These vast inequalities and dangers are more than violate the rights of the imperil the future of individual children. They perpetuate the international cycles of disadvantages and inequality that undermine the stability of societies and even the security nations everywhere. Children and the UN system. From the focus of education, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization (UNESCO) on the efforts of their International Labour Organization (ILO) to abolish the child labor to children youth program of the UN Relief and Work Agency and Palestine refugee in the Near East, to the nutrition work for the mothers, young children to provide World Food Program, to disease eradication and campaign by the World Health Organization (WHO). The UN system is for the children. Thank you friends. If you like the video, like it and share it. Thank you.